Good morning, everyone. A very warm welcome to all the participants. Sanjeevji, we're starting.
Yeah, please.
Okay. We are delighted that you have taken the time from a busy schedule to attend this webinar. We have designated 1 hour for this webinar, and to respect everyone's time, we shall have a half an hour session on our presentation and some talk by Mr. Sanjeev, and thereafter we shall take your questions. Let me take this opportunity to introduce ourselves. I am Rocky Ravindra Gupta, Project Director of Early Warning India. Early Warning India is a project initiated by a not-for-profit organization, Turnaround Foundation. The central office of which is in Gurugram and New Delhi. I am here with the team of Turnaround Foundation. Let me introduce you to the president of the Turnaround Foundation, Mr. Neeraj. The vice president, Mr. Jugal Baveja.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
And Mr. Mohit Kapoor, he's the treasurer of Turnaround Foundation. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you Mr. Sanjeev Ahuja. He's on the advisory board of Early Warning India.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
Many of you have been in conversation with us about this project, but for the uninitiated, I would like to briefly touch upon this project. As all of you are aware that many businesses in India and around the world are on the verge of insolvency and bankruptcy due to COVID-19. Business owners do not know what to do in this time of crisis. They are afraid of losing their businesses. It might not be their fault that the business loss is due to something else which is not within their control, but it is the responsibility of the business owners that their business is in trouble and they need to explore options judiciously to resolve their issues. The Early Warning Project is there to advise businesses in distress in case a business is not doing well, probably due to reasons of financial issues, operational issues, or due to COVID pandemic. And most importantly, we need to keep these businesses as a going concern rather than going in for within the IBC scope and going in for PPIRPs and CIRP. As all of you know that the success rate within the CIRP is what, 15 to 20%. Am I right, Sanjeev ji?
Ji.
Right.
Right.
So let's start off with this small presentation that I have, and we can have the question and answer sessions after this PowerPoint presentation. This.
Okay.
The presentation is not moving ahead, I think. Yeah, now it starts.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the interim, maybe we request all the participants to continue to be on a mute on your own, that we don't have any disturbance from the background.
Okay, thank you, Sanjeev. Early Warning India is a project which has been initiated in association with Early Warning Europe. Early Warning Europe is a network of early warning institutions almost in 12 to 15 countries in Europe. It's a network of all these early warning projects. And these projects are basically there to rescue businesses in distress. They are in most of the countries in Europe like Denmark, Holland, Spain, Italy, Greece, Croatia, Finland, etc. And we have gone into an MOU with Early Warning Europe to start the Early Warning India project. Now, what we do here is that we are providing free, impartial, and confidential counseling to businesses in distress. This is our duty in these times of pandemic to provide them with these sort of services so that they do not have any stress on the part of paying some sort of professionals. And we will be doing this for 1 year from now. Now, you must be wondering, what is early warning? As human body is showing symptoms of illness, when you have, say, when you're going to have some illness like a bad throat, you start having a headache, or you start coughing, or you have a cold. So similarly, when a business is in distress, it also gives out certain signals. And these signals need to be noticed and acted upon. Most of the time, what happens is that these signals go unnoticed by the business owners or the promoters, and that is where the problem lies. We can identify these stress signals early so that there can be an intervention at the right stage for the business to not deteriorate further. Again, it is of utmost importance that the early warning signals are noticed early and acted upon as soon as possible. Identification of these signals early helps in timely intervention by us, the turnaround professionals, to steer the company in the right direction. Delay can be very catastrophic for the companies. Now, what does Early Warning India do? It identifies those early warning signals, identify the causes of those signals, and tries to bring all those companies back on track, probably take them to a new course towards growth. In case the business has passed a point of no return, then we also help them to go through PPIRP and CIRP. One of the most essential part of Early Warning India is that there is always a stigma attached to the insolvency and bankruptcy. People are very stigmatized. They get depressed when they think about insolvency and bankruptcy. So one of the main objectives of Early Warning India is as well to clear out that stigma towards this insolvency and bankruptcy. If in a brief, I will tell you that if you have, everybody knows Walt Disney. Now, Walt Disney got bankrupt twice before he made his billions. You would be surprised that Apple in 1997 was on the brink of bankruptcy, where Microsoft bailed them out by putting in $150 million at that point in time. So in Western world, bankruptcy is not a stigma. So we need to bring that culture to India so that it becomes a pushing for the growth for the companies through. If you're not doing, if your business is not doing right or well, the only option is to exit through insolvency or bankruptcy, and then you can start again. That is what we want to bring in, a mindset change into the minds of business owners. Now I come to a very, very favorite slide of mine. Most of the time I am stuck up on this slide for half an hour or 45 minutes, but I'll not be taking so long on this slide today. Now, this slide has been prepared by one of the professors of Leiden University. His name is Jean Andreasen. He's a good friend of mine. We have been working together on turnaround and insolvency and bankruptcy. Jean is the head of department of the Leiden University in the turnaround and insolvency department. Now we have seen that that time is of essence to identify the early warning signals. So what this chart shows is that the journey of a healthy company to an insolvent company. It starts off with a healthy company and the curve goes down, and at the end, and the black where it is insolvency return, that's the curve I'm talking about. From a healthy to an insolvent company, the time frame for can be somewhere between probably 3 months, 6 months to more than 2 years, 3 years. It depends upon sector to sector and industry to industry. You cannot predict how much time a company would take from going from this point to this point. However, when the company starts going down, the early warning signs start showing up. I would not like to go into what sort of signs because it would take up a lot of time. Thereafter, it starts declining, it gets into distress and an ultimate failure where it reaches the stage of insolvency. Many people are telling me and asking me, what about the companies which have gone into sudden debt in times of COVID, like sectors like travel and tourism, airlines, hospitality are hugely affected by this black swan event. But this is a once in a lifetime event probably. So in a general case scenario, this is the curve we are talking about, not in terms of the black swan events. So this is very important that we catch the early warning signals somewhere here or here, so that we can actually turn around a company. We can even turn it around from here. There have been companies where after the earning crisis have taken place and the companies have been turned around. So let's go to the next slide. We'll come back to the slide a bit later. Why is it important to catch these signals early? Because prevention is always better than cure. You always have time to mitigate risks, identify those risks and mitigate them. Initially, when the cash flows are good, the balance sheet is good, it is easy to get financed. Restructuring is easier. Restructuring can be done in secrecy. Your vendors, your clients, your other creditors, other than the financial creditors, probably wouldn't even know that you're going through a restructuring, and that would save your reputation as well. Most of the times, there is no stigma of potential failure. You can easily retain all the clients because everything is being done in secrecy, employees and vendors. Easy debt restructuring, working capital requirement is easy because you are not at a stage where you have gone into a distress, you are lacking funds, you're lacking cash, nobody's ready to give you any funds. Fast decision making is also there because when there is a lot of distress, the decisions are hard to make, what to do and what not to do. But at a time when the funds are available, you can easily make decisions. And you're highly motivated at that time to bring your company out of distress. And why do businesses fail or fall? Like I said earlier, the human body shows symptoms of illnesses. Similarly, the business also show some sort of illness, some sort of symptoms of decline. There has been a lot of academic and research on these causes of business failure or decline, but there is never ever a single cause for a decline of a business. It's a multiplicity of causes which causes the business to go into distress. Now, where do you think in this chart? Where do you think we should go for a pre-pack? Anyone? A pre-pack would always be considered somewhere around here. Anyone wishes to say something here? A pre-pack would
Well,
always,
there is a
yeah.
when there is a earning crisis itself,
Yeah.
that is the ground for preparing the pre-pack, because
Yes.
when there is an earning crisis, it is going to suddenly result in defaults and then all the stuff. So if you want to do a pre-pack, which is a proactive arrangement,
Yes.
instead of going for CARP, I think earning crisis is the period where pre-pack should be considered by a planned
Agreed,
organized organization.
Agreed. Depending upon the facts of the case, it can always be considered, right? But
Very
the
well
point,
said. I'll just take a minute. Very well said, gentlemen. But the only problem is, like, we especially in India, we have seen till the time we don't reach a stage where we can't even write a check for the next installment. That's the time actually we wake up. But you are otherwise very right. The day you get to see, like, earnings actually going down, or like, not being sure about your next, check or next sale. That's exactly the time when we should actually have our antennas on. Absolutely right.
so
Thank you.
yeah.
And so just one thing. So what I've observed, generally the business owners and entrepreneurs think insolvency is a stigma. Until the time they don't reach to the last level, they don't want to come to take out a decision that they are actually going into the insolvency process.
Exactly.
That's why they are pushing the decision to reach at the last level.
Yes, that is one of our objectives, to take out that stigma out of our business culture.
Yes. Yes.
And ask the people to start something somewhere prior to this point, so that they can easily go through the distress successfully. Like everyone is agreeable that we somehow we'll start pre-packs or CIRP somewhere here. Here, if we started somewhere here, in when there is a failure, the pre-packs would also not be successful, or the CIRP might not be successful. It might end in liquidation. So it is very essential that these early warning signs should be read early, and corrective intervention should be taken as soon as possible. One thing I want to ask you, if we do not do PIRP or CIRP here, and we catch a company here, what do we do?
Sir, earlier the better.
So what do? Do you go for a PIRP or a CIRP?
PIRP.
Anyone
Sir,
else?
there could be
No,
a lot of other
PARP
options other than the
PIRP is the
PIRP
better
also.
option.
No, the issue with PARP or CARP is that there should be a default happening, but here we are only getting the signals. So PARP, CARP, that event has not happened. So that
Yes.
may not be
Field
the
is signed out default.
available.
So it requires a pivot into the business model at that level where the cash flows can be manageable. It requires a kind of a mediations, at least to few of the critical points, which could be the critical later on. So there is a no need at this level to go either into the CRP or the PRP level.
I'll just add to here, till the time strategic crisis and earning crisis are being handled, that's a preventive measure. And after that, that'll be a curative measure.
Yeah.
Because the default probably most likely will occur, and then we'll have to look at, what exactly how curation can happen. But his point was, if it's strategic crisis and earning crisis, that's a time when we are helping the MSME or our client or a corporate debtor more from the perspective of preventing a further slide. So, mend your ways, assess the situation, and then move on from there. Probably take a quick U-turn.
Excuse me, we can get new investors at this stage.
Yes, you can. And that's a very pertinent answer to this issue that I'm going to come up right now, that you can get good investors here. So if we are going into PRP, if everyone agrees, we are somewhere here where we can start PRP because of any default happening, or because the business owners have agreed for going into within the confines of IBC. Am I right? What happens before this in this area? This is very important. How many of us are IPs here? Most of them are IPs?
Most of them are IPs.
Okay, good. So I am not me, but we are giving you a new offer for a new profession, right? Here, what we are going to do is we are going to turn around a company in this area. And if we can catch these early warning signs early, we can easily turn around a company. Tell me one thing, Sanjeev ji, how many MSMEs are registered in India? How many MSMEs are in India?
About 66 million.
So if there are 66 million MSMEs in India, that amounts to 6.6 crore MSMEs.
Yeah.
And how many of them are registered as MSMEs under the MSME Act?
Broad numbers, somebody can correct me with the latest data, but somewhere around 25 lakhs approximately.
25 lakhs. And out of those 25 lakhs, probably, how many should be the corporate entities?
Well, negligible, but I'm sure there's a number which probably would be in thousands for sure.
Can we say 10 lakhs?
Well, I really doubt.
Let's take the figure at 10 lakhs.
It cuts both ways. Yes, we say that those are more kind of, the medium sector or the corporate sector is more attuned with, with having systems in place, and they are having the wherewithal, technology and otherwise. But on the other hand, the number itself is too low. I'm told it's not more than some 50 odd thousand as corporates.
Okay.
Or medium level when we talk about 66 million. But
Okay.
I mean, even safely you put 20-25% at best, I guess.
Right. So if we are saying 20%, that makes it 5 lakhs.
Yeah.
Right. So out of these 5 lakh entities, say around 5% need help on your PPIRP and CIRPs. So the amount comes to 25,000. And I am taking this amount of companies, 25,000, the number of companies over a period of 5 years. Right. And that, if you divide it on an average, would be 5,000 companies a year, probably, pan India. Right. However, if you really introspect that we have 66 million MSMEs, and if we can only have 5% of them coming to the turnaround professionals for turning them around, not going into the IRP, CRP process or a PPIRP process. And I'm not talking about corporate entities, we're talking about all sort of businesses, whether it is an individual sole proprietorship or a normal partnership. I think at 5%, it would be 32,50,000. And out of this 32,50,000, the 5% we're talking about, even if only 1% come to you, 32,500, in period of 5 years, we need at least 500 turnaround professionals with us to cater to them. So this is important to understand that PPIRP can only happen here, and we have a huge amount of area where we can launch a turnaround for businesses on all sort of businesses. We're not restricted to only corporate entities. Now, what is a turnaround professional, or who is a turnaround professional? It's a very, very specialized field. You need to have skill sets basically in finance, law, accounting, and management. You need to be a good communicator. And interestingly, that turnaround is not only for distressed businesses. The startups also need your services. Rather, at Early Warning India, we have some program for startups. Your services might be needed to implement a merger and acquisition. You can have your services for, say, a company which is wanting a growth in their turnover. So they want someone from outside to come in, bring in some sort of different views, different situations to be taken up at a later stage to see how they can grow the turnover. And there's a huge, huge shortage of turnaround professionals in India and abroad. Now, why do we need the help of a turnaround professional? The turnaround professional specifically caters to a company with a fresh perspective and complete objectivity. He's coming from outside. He's not bound by all those mental blocks. He can think out of the box. He will be unbiased. He has no baggage to take care of. Like there might be some people who's influencing business owners or the promoters. So he doesn't have that baggage. Can advise instantly after analysis and due diligence. Because he's a professional in law, finance, management, or accounting, he can easily help you out. Can deal equitably with angry creditors, employees, worry customers, board of directors, probably, and can really help the turn business around if the early warning signals have been caught early and timely help has been taken. So this way, turnaround professional is a new profession which is being needed in India in these times of COVID, where the lockdowns are increasing, and the next 6 months to 12 months, we might be needing huge amount of turnaround professionals. I've come across a lot of lawyers. I'm a lawyer myself, and chartered accountants who claim that they are turnaround professionals. Yes, you can turn around a company to the extent of the knowledge of your profession, but to be a complete turnaround professional, you need a 360-degree objectivity of that specific company and then help it turn around. That would really greatly help the company and the business owners. And once you turn around those companies, what do you achieve? Other than your experiences, your objectives, your perspectives on the turnaround, you're creating employment. You're generating more demand. You're generating more disposable incomes for the country and the economy. So it is a win-win for all. What is the concept of Early Warning India? We are the professionals at Early Warning India, adapt to the constantly changing situation in the business world, like COVID. We will take care of if something is not happening, what to do, how to help these people, the business owners and the promoters. We would be taking innovation in a stride. We'll have innovative ideas for the business owner and promoters to do something out of the box and ultimately transform the businesses. That is what we do at Early Warning India. And moreover, we have a team at Early Warning India, which has a combined experience of over 25 to 30 years and a huge amount of success rate in terms of turnarounds. We have chartered accountants, we have company secretaries, we have lawyers, we have management experts, and also we have business owners whom we have turned around and who have agreed to support us by putting in their bit in helping the other promoters understand what means for turning, what means for the company to be turned around, what needs to be done, and how to get rid of that stigma of insolvency and bankruptcy. Moreover, we have the expertise of Early Warning Europe, which has been working in this field for last 12 years in so many countries. And we have direct contact with professionals from all the countries for help if required. We actually help MSMEs reduce stress, diagnose key stress symptoms, and to rescue their businesses. Most importantly, we do not judge or blame. Whatever has happened has happened. We need to look forward, we need to look at the future. And we simply guide and advise through difficult times. And then after the company is back on track, we get out of that company and take our other assignments. Like I told you, we are turnaround professionals. We have associations with Early Warnings Europe, Insol International, and Turnaround Management Association. These are all international bodies which we are affiliated to somehow or the other. And there is a huge demand for turnaround professionals, not only in India, but abroad as well. We are very, very strict on ethical and professional services to be provided by our colleagues and people who are connected with Early Warning India. We are experienced professionals. We also provide international certification on turnaround, and you can have international exposure as well. Once this lockdowns and pandemic is over, I believe there would be a huge opportunity for people working in turnaround industry to go outside India and make their mark. And like I told you, we have a proven track record. How do we help? We take control of the business, not in terms of control, in terms of like an IP takes over, he becomes the board of directors. No, we help the business owner take control of the situations that are troubling him. We stabilize the business, analyze the issues and situations. We create an emergency response plan, and then we restructure. I would like to take a poll right now. Mohit, can you just start the poll right now? I just want to take this poll immediately now. Can you start the poll, Mohit?
Okay, I don't see the poll.
Okay, I'll do that. I'm launching the polling. Kindly poll on this. Still 4 people are left. So I'm closing the poll right now. We have, so this is the result of this poll. The management strategy, 59%, financial strategy, 18%, operation strategy, 24%. I'll get back to my slides now. Yes. So when we were talking about restructuring, most of the people that I have spoken to have always said, most of the business owners that we speak to has always said, पैसा दिलवा दीजिए हमारे को, हमारा धंधा ठीक हो जाएगा. This is the standard line of everyone, every business owner. But like you have said, put it in the poll, it is not the financial strategy that is required initially. It is the management strategy that is required. So it is a people's management job. If you can manage people well, financial strategy would come at the end. Restructuring needs to be done on people. Restructuring needs to be done on operations. Restructuring needs to be done on all other things other than financial. Because at this point in time where you are not doing well, nobody is going to support you. The banks is not going to support you. The financial creditors are not going to support you. No one is going to support you because you have laundered away all the money as per them. You might not have done that, but they think that you have laundered that money. So at the point in time where you clean up your business, your operations, your people, your all other problems that you have cleared up, and then when you go to the bank and tell them, see sir, I have done all these things and now I am ready to take another loan from you or probably a top up from you, probably the bank will consider that. And mind you that in last 5-6 years, any business being supported by early warning Europe is given a special treatment by the banks in terms of lower interest rates, preferential giving of loans, and this is all happening because the early warning Europe does their work very in a good way and a better way, and people have trust in them. And like I said earlier, we can help outside the purview of insolvency law by means of turnarounds, and within the confines of insolvency law while through pre-packs or CRP. Why associate with early warning India? There's a huge demand expected in the next 5 years of turnaround professionals, not only in India, but abroad as well. You will grow as a turnaround expert. There's a huge demand, you will be in demand. Most of the countries all around the world have brought in certain specific bits of legislation suspending their insolvency and bankruptcy laws, and they are stressing more on turnarounds of businesses. If you are an independent director, your chances of becoming one increases because lots of companies are looking for independent directors who are turnaround professionals, because you are the one who is in demand. All businesses are going down, so you are in demand. And you'll have access to pan-India network of turnaround professionals, which would actually help you out. The basic requirements of a turnaround professional are that you should be a legal or a finance professional or have experience in management, knowledge of journal laws and management techniques. Like I said, for 1 year, we're giving complete pro bono services to everyone. In times of pandemic, this is a duty as finance professional or a legal professional or a management professional or a chartered accountant or a lawyer to provide these services in times of distress. We have a strict selection criteria because we need to meet those standards of early warning Europe. You will be joining as volunteers and go on to become mentors of the companies, mentors of the board of directors. So here, I stop my presentation and I would invite Sanjeev ji to say a few words.
Okay, great, Mr. Director. That was really a detailed presentation. I think I was wanted to speak a bit more for 10 minutes, but not required because you've covered practically everything. But I would share, some thoughts which I have regarding the concept, and also based on the interactions what we internally have been having. So it would be nice to kind of share with the rest of the participants, and then probably we can open it up for Q&A. So a very good afternoon to all of you. Friends, it's great. It's good to be part of such a dynamic initiative, and I congratulate the entire team, the founding team at Early Warning India. It's a really, very relevant and apt concept coming in India at the right time, with the support and association with Early Warning Europe. So I think there'll be a lot of learning which will get on platter, and from that perspective, we should try and make it as useful, as relevant, and it's high time. We need a proper hand holding, which is done for primarily MSMEs, and you've seen the statistics. You've heard 66 million, right? And irrespective of whether they're micro, small, or medium, they are the true backbone of our economy. We've been hearing there's a separate ministry which takes care of them. So from that perspective, I think it's also high time that we professionals kind of get together and handhold this backbone and put it back in shape, because we'll get our unicorns and we'll get all the big companies really starting small, and if they get the proper support and guidance, I'm sure they'll be taking our country forward. Now we've also seen the IBCs, the restructuring otherwise schemes of the banks, the OTS, etc. Many such schemes for ease of doing business as well as for exits, but somehow they are not doing the required trick. The magic is not happening, or at least not at the same level what we thought it would. So that means there is some gap which we need to kind of fill up. That's one. And it also kind of throws back a small challenge on us that we really need to work closer to the ground. We need to sit with the aggrieved party. We need to kind of be a proper doctor. We need to understand how we can diagnose, how we can assess, how we can recommend the strategies and the attacks. Whether they are curative or preventive, I think it will totally depend on a particular case you are kind of confronted with. Of course, we need to handle, mitigate, and avoid, and reduce the stress as well as the distress. Now, the narrative, of course, has to kind of go beyond. Of course, we were discussing about PPIRP and all, because I understand a lot of us are also practicing the resolution professionals. So we are very much aware of IBC and restructuring and and the PPIRPs and all this thing. But let me say, once we are turnaround professionals, you need to elevate yourself. You are just not a lawyer, a chartered accountant, a IT or someone. You are really a turnaround, which means a 360-degree perspective. So as we say, we need to have a fair amount of knowledge about management techniques, about bit of law, bit of finance, bit of operations, bit of practically everything. Because you sit with the promoter, you sit with the management, you sit with the decision maker. So you just don't bring on the table a particular specialty of a particular field, but you really kind of are able to elevate yourself, look at a bigger picture, help the person, sit with him, be in extended arms and ears and eyes, so that he gets a perspective. So that's important. IPCs for sure is going to be one of the tools, because what happens, it's also important to understand what kind of a solution an IBC can give. We were looking at the distress becoming decline, and then eventually you look at a failure. Now, once you look at IBC, it gives you an option of haircuts and restarting. Is that the only option left? That will be debated on a particular situation, depending on once you take over. And what I feel is trust deficit becomes a bigger issue here. I'm telling from my experience, you sit with a promoter, the more and more he becomes comfortable with you, he'll confide in you so much that you would probably, you will be really surprised that there's a lot which is going at the back of his mind. But it's very difficult for him to cross that hurdle, cross the threshold of the trust deficit, and actually start, confiding into a professional. So we have to reach the state, and that requires, some patience, some techniques, and a combination of how you can show that you are trustworthy and you can really, because the problems what we're facing is, again from my experience, I'm saying, how do we identify the real pain or the real issue? Because what is told to you is most likely, more often than not, is the effect, not the cause. So unless until you kind of breach that the gaps and you sit with them, you understand, that's only you get to know the cause. And it's important that we really hit on the cause, not only on the effects. So everything is important. So all I'm saying is, in a nutshell, we need to kind of be open-minded, look at a broader picture. Not all the cases will probably throw up similar challenges. You'll have different cases, different challenges, people taking different calls. So you really need to kind of go closer to the person, sit with him, understand. So this pro bono initiative is important, because that also becomes a hurdle for a lot of companies. who are going through a distress and like, liquidity crisis and all that. So even like, putting up any kind of a payment or something upfront, of course. So right now it's a new concept for India. It's been like, practiced in different other shapes and sizes, but this becomes a kind of an organized way, a more formal way of doing it. And again, I say with the support of Early Warning Europe and like, Early Warning India as a team which has been set up, I'm sure we'll be able to, really do justice. We'll have to, of course, like, go pan-India, tie up with the governments, which we are doing at our level. But more and more when people like, get together, we'll be really coming on radar and people will see the benefit. So I would want to kind of conclude that, because most important would be, let's have some interactions around the concept. Let's hear some queries from like, the participants, suggestions on the steps we should take, on ground experiences. I think it will be very relevant if like any of you can also share what exactly happened when you tried something like that in your own capacity. So all those things probably we should currently now get involved with. And so I would conclude, and I wish all the best to the participants as well as to the founding team. Thank you.